got enough to go around.
What up, what up? Salute to all my raw juice heads out there. It's your boy Dev with Life Liquid Juices for Living. And for this introductory video, I'm going to show you how I cut and prepare raw fruit and veggies for use with a masticating juicer. Now, I'll explain the difference between a centrifugal juicer and a masticating juicer in a minute. But first, let me explain what juice I'll be making today. Today's juice is a tropical green that consists mostly of fruits. I'll be juicing half of a pineapple, a mango, 4 green apples, half of a honeydew melon, a cucumber, and some ginger root. And I usually like to put a leafy green in the mix as well, like spinach or maybe hemp. But since I don't have either of those today, I'll be juicing what I have right here. All right, so make sure you have your bowl on deck so you can put all your fruit and veggies in after you chop them up. You want to have your cutting board, obviously, and you want to have your fruits and stuff on deck. So I got my green apples here, got my cucumber here, got my mango, got my half a pineapple, got my honeydew melon, got my ginger root, you know what I mean? And so we're going to go ahead and get to it. Now, when I cut these apples, I'll show you the way that I cut the apples. I typically turn them on the side like this, and I slice them in half. And once they're in half, you get that little star in the middle. Let me put it up to the camera so you can see that little star. I just cut right on the outside of that star. I turn it, cut on the outside of the star, turn it, cut on the outside of the star, and it'll leave me with a core. So I just kick the core off to the side or I throw it away. And then I just slice my apples in an extra half and throw them in the bowl. With a masticating juicer, you're going to want to cut your fruits up and your vegetables up really small because the feed chute is small and it doesn't do well taking large chunks of fruits or vegetables. So let me explain to you the difference between a masticating juicer and a centrifugal juicer. I like to use a masticating juicer because it simulates chewing. It's also called a cold press juicer. And cold press juicers use a lower RPM. And because they use a lower RPM, there's not much oxidation happening. Like when you use a centrifugal juicer, that's the one that uses the blades that chops the fruit up and then presses it and presses the juice out of it. When you use that, the chopping motion in the blades, it causes oxidation and it can take away from the nutrients that's in your fruits and your vegetables. So it's nothing wrong with a centrifugal juicer. Like if that's what you prefer, you know, that's cool. Like it's not going to take all of the nutrients or the health benefits out of the fruit or the vegetables, but it will reduce it by a little bit from oxidation. So I prefer a masticating juicer. The RPM is much slower, and basically it presses the fruit up against a screen and it mashes the fruit into the screen and just presses the juice out slowly. So it works a lot slower and it requires the pieces to be chopped up a lot more, but you'll get maximum health benefits out of a masticating juicer versus a centrifugal juicer. So again, with my apple, you know, I cut along the edge of the star. So my knife is typically right there on the edge of the star. And that's how I get my core. Now, I use green apples because of the health benefits. The health benefits in green apples, it improves heart health. The green apples do. It improves, it reduces the risk of diabetes. They're high in fiber, so they'll keep you regular. I mean, they're apples, so they'll keep you regular. It's a good source of vitamin A, good source of vitamin C, calcium, iron. So there's a lot of health benefits that comes along with juicing apples, green apples in particular. I like green apples in all of my green juices. I like leafy greens in all of my green juices too, but like I said earlier, I didn't have any leafy greens today. So kale is a good leafy green to juice. Spinach is a good leafy green. Hemp is a good leafy green. And you know, there's the difference between hemp and cannabis is the THC properties in cannabis are a lot stronger. And so hemp, it doesn't have, it's very, very, very low in THC. So, you know, you don't get the same effects from hemp that you get from cannabis. So, but you get all of the same health benefits from the cannabinoid. So I prefer hemp, juicing raw hemp than juicing cannabis, but you know, whatever you prefer. So I'm gonna chop these up real quick. I'm gonna speed the film up real quick, and then I'll get right back with you. All right. So now that I have the apple all sliced up, I'm gonna do the cucumber next. And there's really no specific trick to the cucumber like it is with the apple. You just slice it. It's a cucumber, so I just slice it. And once you're done slicing it, it's already gonna be in small enough pieces that it'll fit comfortably into the feed chute of the masticating juicer. And the juicer that I'm going to be using today is the Omega VSJ. I forgot the numbers on it. It's like 846 or 843 or 8 something. But it's a Omega VSJ is the juicer that I use. And I love it because it's easy to clean. It's pretty easy to use. And it also has a 15-year warranty. So if any part on it goes bad or breaks down on you or whatever, it's a 15-year warranty, man. So it's well worth it. So now the cucumber is all cut up, and so now I'm gonna chop up my ginger. I like to use a small piece of ginger because, you know, ginger can be a little spicy, you know, but it adds a nice kick to the juice. So I like to use ginger. Plus, it's got some pretty awesome health benefits. Ginger, it boosts brain function. It helps with stomach pain. It's ginger. What does ginger do? It fights infection. Ginger does a lot of different things. I forgot to talk about the health benefits of the cucumber too. Cucumbers are good for hormone balance. Like they help balance hormone. They strengthen hair follicles. They're good in as far as like weight loss because cucumbers make you feel full. Cucumbers, I say, a good source of hydration. They're a good source of hydration. They help detoxify the body. Cucumbers, they got like tons of health benefits. They got like anti-cancer properties. So I would typically use a potato peeler when peeling a mango, but I just didn't feel like going to grab it. So I'm gonna speed up the video as I peel this mango, and once I got the mango peeled, I'll show you how I cut a mango, and we'll just go from there. So. All right, so I got my mango all peeled now. The health benefits for a mango are they help reduce cholesterol. They're rich in vitamin A, vitamin B6, vitamin E, vitamin K. So it's an immunity booster. It promotes heart health, eye health, high in fiber, so it promotes regularity, you know. But when I cut a mango, I slice it like not directly in the middle, but close to the middle. And I feel like that seed, and I just tilt my knife so it's just right on the edge of that seed, and then I just cut down. Because the mango seed is pretty big, but I want to get as close to the seed as possible. It's usually like that little thin line right there. That's the seed. It lets me know that I got close enough. And now I can see where I want to make the rest of my cuts. Because I want to stay as close to that seed as possible. And if I ever feel my knife going into the seed, I just kind of raise it up a little bit and just kind of fillet. So this is, you know, it's still a little bit of mango on there. You can eat that if you want, or you can just chuck it, you know, whatever. But it's pretty good. I usually just chuck it because I don't have time. I'm just trying to get this chopped up so I can juice it and drink it. So I just chop it up into thin slices like so, and then I add it to my bowl. If I have like a chunk like this, a long chunk like that, that'll fit into the feed chute nicely. So there's no need for me to chop that up. I prefer to get mangoes before they get ripe, because when they get ripe, they get really soft. Like this mango is a little softer than I prefer, but I'm gonna juice it anyway. But I really prefer them to be more firm than this. And if you get them right before they get ripe, you know, they're a little more tart as well. So they're not as sweet, and I prefer that too. Because the one thing you want to be careful with when juicing, especially when you're juicing a lot of fruits, is the sugar content that fruit produces. You know, fruits produce a lot of natural sugar, and you want to be careful with that. That's why I like to mix a lot of leafy greens and stuff in my juice, because it adds that balance. And without that, you know, you can end up getting a lot of sugar. So you just have to be careful with the amount of fruits that you juice and drink in one sitting. I try to mix root vegetables in, like carrots or jicama or ginger, or, you know, I try to mix leafy greens or cucumbers when I can. Beets. I like golden beets because the red beets are just too, you know, that earthy flavor is just too much for me. My wife, she really loves the red beets. I'm more of a golden beet type of person. You get the same amount of nutrients, but it's a lot lighter in the flavor. So I do golden beets. Anyway, now I'm gonna do the honeydew. The honeydew melon is it adds like a lot of juice, man. You get a lot of juice out of a honeydew melon, out of any melon really. Like watermelon is really good to juice as well. You get a lot of juice out of that. But the honeydew, it's rich in a lot of different vitamins. It's got vitamin A, vitamin C. It's got a lot of calcium in it, iron, magnesium, potassium, all that. So really healthy. But when I juice my honeydew, I usually like to do a half or a quarter. I'm gonna do a half today. I'll take my spoon and I'll scoop out all of the insides and toss that away. I'm pretty sure, you know, you can do something with it, but I haven't figured that out yet. So I scoop this all away, and then I'll begin to cut my melon. And I'll show you how I do that in a minute. All right, my honeydew is cut, and a little excess juice, you can either pour it into the bucket that holds the juice from your juicer, or you can dump it into the bowl that got the other fruit and stuff in it. It doesn't matter, but I don't like to get rid of that juice. I like to juice it. And so the honeydew melon, I just flip it over on the flat side that I cut, and then I cut it in half again. And then I cut it in half again. So I cut it in into quarters of the half. And so now I'll slice that in half. Slice this in half. And then when I get ready to cut, I cut the rind by filleting it, just like I did with the mango and the seed. But I try to get as close to the skin, like I'll turn my knife up as I'm filleting it to get as close to the skin as possible, and to cut as much of the rind off as possible without taking out a lot of the flesh from the honeydew. If you prefer cantaloupe, you can do cantaloupe the same way. I'm not a cantaloupe person. My wife loves cantaloupe. I'm not a cantaloupe person or a sugar melon person, but honeydew is, I love it. So, and I'll slice it into little pieces like this. And that's how I do a honeydew. So once again, I'm gonna speed the film up, and then we'll be on the pineapple. All right, now we're ready to juice our pineapple. Speeding the film up just wasn't working, so I just had to use technology and jump to the next scene. Thank God for technology. I wanted to clear something up though about the leafy greens, about hemp and cannabis. I forgot to mention the difference in THC. Now understand that THC typically is not activated unless it's heated up. So you don't get the psychoactive properties that you would get like when someone is burning marijuana, for example. But when juicing it, you don't get those psychoactive properties from the THC. But, and there's a but, if you juice cannabis with citrus fruits like oranges or pineapples or even mangoes, that will trigger the psychoactive properties in the THC. Ask me how I know. I don't get high, but through trial and error, I found out that you don't want to juice cannabis with pineapple or oranges or mangoes. So, not trying to give a tip to you stoners out there either. I'm just letting the juice heads know, the raw juice heads know that if you're going to juice hemp, I prefer hemp because hemp, you won't get that situation with hemp. With cannabis, because the THC levels are so high, you'll end up getting high. So be careful when juicing raw cannabis. So with the pineapple, back on the pineapple, I just sliced along the sides or along the edges of the pineapple just to get the skin off. So we'll do that first. I'll show you what that process looks like. And then I'll show you how I core a pineapple quickly. It's almost the same way I do an apple. So now that the pineapple is cut, you can see the core right there in the middle. I just do the same thing with the pineapple that I do with the apple and just slice on the outside of the circle, and that'll give me my pineapple core. Health benefits of a pineapple. And keep in mind, folks, that I am not a doctor, so all of the health benefits that I'm giving you are benefits that I saw online or that I researched online. But, I'm not a physician, so, I just know that the raw fruits and veggies make me feel good when I juice them, and my body responds to them in kind. So, I believe what I've researched to be true. But do your own research. Pineapples, they're rich in antioxidants. They're high in fiber. They reduce the risk of cancer. They're immunity boosters, anti-inflammatory. They help with arthritis. All of that good stuff. So But again, do your own research. And you'll be able to, you know, deduce. All right, so this is the pineapple core. I don't throw this away like I do with the apple core. I chop this up into pieces and I juice this. The apple core is really hard, so you want to slice it up into pieces. You don't want to put this through your juicer whole because you can break your juicer like that. Because the pineapple cores are really hard. But if you just slice them into little chips or thin little squares like that, those juice pretty easily. And that way you're getting all of your pineapple. So sometimes I'll do them big like this, or sometimes I'll you know, do them a little bit smaller. But you just want to make sure your fruit is small enough that your feed chute on your juicer can handle it. Typically with a centrifugal juicer, the feed chutes are a lot bigger, so you don't have to prep as much. But again, masticating juicers, in my humble opinion, are just better because, you know, it reduces oxidation because of the slow RPM. So just slice your pineapple up like so. And once it's done, we're gonna get on to juicing. All right, so this is the Omega VSJ 843, I believe it is. And these are all the parts that come with it. It comes with the little, I don't know what to call this, man. A pusher. It pushes in the fruit if it gets stuck, whatever. Pusher, that's what I'm gonna call it. It's the feed chute pusher. What do you call this? I don't know. It's the top. It's the top of the juicer. This is the dispenser. This is where the juice gets collected and dispensed. This is the auger. This is what presses the juice into this screen right here. And all of this comes apart. And this is all of this that I just showed you is dishwasher safe, so it can be used in the dishwasher. I prefer to hand wash it, but you know, to each his own. So this goes in here like that. It assembles easily. It juices fairly easily. So yeah, all of this goes in here. You'll feel it fit in. It all kind of locks in place. And your auger, I just push my auger in. Yeah, it's looking like I don't know what I'm doing right now because I'm doing this from the reverse side. I don't typically do it from the reverse side. Let me, wait a minute. It's easier than this, trust me. I'm just doing this from behind the juicer as opposed to in front of it like I normally do. So let's get this in first. There we go. Now that locks in, then this goes on, and it locks in like so. Now everything is locked. There's a little I gotta show you. This little piece down here at the bottom, this little stopper right here. Can you see that? That goes in there to keep your juice from coming out of this area. This is where your pulp comes out at. And if you don't put that little plugger in there, that little stopper in there, then your juice will come out into this, which is where your pulp ends up going. Anyway, now we're gonna get to the good stuff. Now we're gonna start juicing. So I take my bowl of chopped up fruits and my cucumber. I like to mix it all up because I don't like to just juice one thing at a time. I like to juice it all at once. So you just turn it on and you just start dropping fruit in. I drop it in slowly, typically one at a time. I like to do apples after I do a pineapple, or apple after I do something soft, so that the apple, because it's harder, it helps push through the juice. So that wasn't supposed to happen. So I'm gonna speed the film up because obviously I have a lot of fruit and a lot of vegetables to juice, and it'll take me all day. So I'm gonna speed it up. But before I do that, I want to show you that if you're going too fast, you can get a clog. If you get a clog, you just use this to gently press down, and it'll get all of the fruit. It'll get it all in there. So I'm gonna speed the film up a little bit, and then I'll slow it back down once we start getting some pulp coming out of the juicer. All right, so now you see we got a little bit of pulp falling out of the juicer. We have this, it comes with this little toothbrush looking thing. It's got this little screwdriver looking end on it, like a flathead screwdriver. That's so that you can put it in here and kind of help the pulp out if the pulp gets stuck, because sometimes it'll get stuck. So this will kind of help push it out a little bit. And you're supposed to use this to clean the machine with, but I use a sponge and a bigger bristle brush. I don't typically use this, but it's there. Sometimes with your VSJ, the fruit doesn't go all the way through the auger, so you just hit the reverse button and it'll bring it back up, and then you push the on button again and it'll push it back down, and then it'll typically continue to rotate. So sometimes you have to do that a few times. Oh yeah, don't forget to empty the juicer. Bro, I'm sucking really bad right now for my first video. Don't forget to empty the juicer, people. Once again, I'm doing this from behind the juicer. I'm typically standing in front of it, so that's a mistake I usually wouldn't make. But it's real important to empty the juicer. Now when your juice gets so full, or when the container rather gets so full like this, I typically dump it in a larger container and keep going. In this case, I like to use glass jars to do this, but because I'm making so much, I'm gonna put it in a big container. So I'm gonna pause for a second. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna clean the juicer out a little bit, and then I'm gonna continue. So I'll get with y'all in a second. All right, let me show you this. This is kind of important, okay? I opened everything up. I disassembled everything, because sometimes the juicer, after taking so much fruit, so much vegetables, it can get clogged up. This is the bottom of the auger. This is all pulp. And this is the inside of the juicer. It's all full of pulp. So I could keep going, but you'll get a better yield if you clear this stuff out after a while. If you're juicing a small amount, like that amount right there, for me, typically, that'll be all I would need. I'm good to go on a typical day. But because I'm juicing a lot today, I usually stop maybe halfway, maybe halfway through, and I clean everything out. And once I clean it out, then it's able to keep going and produce a bigger yield. I could keep going, but it's just gonna get more junk in it, and I won't get as much juice out of it. So I like to clean this out. All right, and we are finished, finally. So I'll leave this running for a second and just let the juice, just keep little bit by little, it'll come out. I take what's left in here, the juice that's left in here, and I'll pour it in there. Let that work its way in. Got a lot of pulp, man. The pulp is pretty dry. And that's it. So now I'm gonna pour this up and I'm gonna have me a glass. There it is, folks. Good old tropical green juice. I'm about to tear it up. I guess that's a wrap, folks. Until the next time. Man, that's good. Y'all be easy. See you when I see you.